Guys and girls, we're saved. We are absolutely saved. CoinDesk has reported that Jim Cramer said he's selling all of his Bitcoin. Guys, we don't need to even do any analysis from this point onwards. Like, we know the drill here. We absolutely know the drill here. Jokes aside, even though the inverse Kramer is ridiculously accurate when it comes to cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin in particular, we've got this pattern, all right? So we've got a pattern, it's a falling wedge pattern, and the resistance of it has rejected the price 1, 2, 3 times. Now, the fourth time, is that going to be the charm? It's a critical zone, it's in juncture, it coincides with our now famous volume profile tool that we've looked at for way too long because Bitcoin is just not getting out of this range. Point of control, even the 4-hourly 200 moving average corresponds to this territory, but a positive break on the daily time frame can produce some good results based off of my view. I want to talk about this. I want to give you the crazy story of what Michael Saylor tweeted today, get into developments in the tragic Coldcard case, and wrap it up with yesterday's ISM PMI numbers. If those sound interesting to you, well, guys, make sure to destroy the like button on today's video. It would be so appreciated. It would be so tremendous. We're at 67,400 subscribers, guys. We are here every single day. Bull market, bear market, I don't care. I'm going to be posting. So if you want to follow along, subscribe. And if you'd like to get some incredible bonuses as a new trader, then check out the link, the first link to BTCC. Everyone who signs up to this link with their email address and password will be airdropped $1,000 worth of a position. That whatever profits you make will be yours to keep. You just need to sign up with your email address and password. That is it. And the second link in the description to LoveX gives you access to our Deposit Weekly Get Bonus Weekly campaign. $2,500 every single week can, for active traders, get you $500 in futures credits. With that, just like BTCC, all profits you make will be for yours to keep. So check our partner exchanges in the links down below if you wish to get those cool bonuses. All right, back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin getting a small pump. Well, we've got bullish-esque developments in the geopolitical scenery. Crude oil is down to $76. But when you analyze the news, President Trump stated that they paused strikes to give negotiations another chance because they assumed the Strait of Hormuz will get opened. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent stated that we could get a deal which opens up the Strait of Hormuz as soon as tomorrow. But then other US officials said that there are no credible talks that are taking place. Qatar said there are no direct talks between US and Iran. And then Iranian news outlets reported that the Strait of Hormuz is not in their plan of being opened. And President Trump, like, it's a mess. It's really a mess. We know the timeline. From 6 months ago all the way to now August the 4th, we've seen many ceasefires. We've seen many attempts of negotiation. We've seen different things, but no conclusion. And until we see a conclusion, I'm not going to relax. I'm not going to be at peace. I'm somebody who lives in the region. Many of my friends, many of my family live in this region. We are lucky that the country we live in are incredible at protecting us, but other countries don't have the same resources and facilities. So it's a super stressful time. And I pray that we can reach a peaceful conclusion via bureaucracy and not military action, because military action is destructive, both on a physical plane and secondly, on a stock market perspective. But I feel that this amount of back and forth is just purely market manipulation, because in time of de-escalation, prices pump ridiculously, and then you go into escalation for, again, some random coincidence when stock markets close on the weekends, but the escalatory aspects do not erase the gains produced from the de-escalatory aspects. And overall, you pump. And with the crude oil volatility, you experienced major volatility on the S&P 500, which with positive earnings reports from many companies is also influencing Bitcoin's short-term rally here. And I need to be honest with you guys, I was in full belief that the diamond top could have brought us our end for the huge S&P 500 rally experienced over the course of, incredibly from April 2025 up until now. I combined that thesis by looking at things like midterm year price action for the S&P. We looked into the 1996 to the 2001 price fractal. We had over a 95% correlation, and monetary policy remaining restrictive. That was my thesis. And I'll admit, I did not expect the S&P to continue rallying here. However, I think that if we are going to continue to rally, then it's not going to be too prolonged. In the midterm year of 2018, S&P rallied towards middle of August, then topped out and capitulated into the rest of Q4. You did a similar price action in green was 2022, and then blue is 2018. You rallied till October and then capitulated in Q4. Following 2022 directly could be very, very unique in the essence of, well, if you compare Bitcoin to its midterm price action years, then what do you know? What do you know, particularly in the context of 2026 and 2022? Well, both of these rally towards the middle of August and then capitulate also. And that would be a very valid scenario that both the S&P 500 and Bitcoin can produce all together. Bitcoin topped out first in 2025. S&P hasn't topped out yet, but Bitcoin being the reactionary asset of our generation will always produce its highs and lows first, and then traditional financial markets will follow after. We've got our bearish divergence in between the S&P and Bitcoin, similar to the 2018 example, right? You see your high, but then there's a higher high on the S&P. Same story from 2018, which brings to my TLDR of, okay, even if we are pumping now, I don't believe it to be too long-lived, and that ultimately Q4 will bring a correction. That is my theory for markets in general. For Bitcoin in the short term, I just realized I didn't give a Bitcoin short-term target. By doing a daily close above the resistances of POC, falling wedge, and 4-hourly 200 moving average, I would anticipate the value area high, which is situated at $65,500. FYI, I'm still long on LoveX with a 3x leveraged position. And I have an Ethereum and an XRP long situated on BTCC that I'm not planning on closing. I may go into a short when we stop at the second week of August, meaning on Sunday of the closing time frame of the second week of August. I'll give you more details on that as we get closer to the deadline. Okay, Bitcoin, check. We've got geopolitics, also check. I will talk about Saylor, and then we get into Coldcard. So you know how Saylor has said in over what seems like millennia, he stated, never sell your Bitcoin, sell a kidney if you must, but keep the Bitcoin, never sell, never sell, never sell. You know how he's yapped on about that. Well, then he pivoted his mindset to buy more Bitcoin than you sell. And then there was a viral clip of him during Bitcoin Prague where he verbally states that, hey, guys, I never meant strategy will never sell the Bitcoin. I meant you should never sell your Bitcoin. And his latest pivot is, when I say never sell your Bitcoin, I speak as one saver to another. I have never sold mine, not one Satoshi. Strategy is a public company, not my wallet. He's segregating his business to himself. I get it, okay? But him trying to rationalize all of prior statements, being known as the CEO of strategy, being associated as essentially one Michael Saylor and his company. I just think trying to rationalize it today is a bit too late. Maybe it's a precursor to a larger Bitcoin sell that may jump in this week and get reported on Monday. That could be the case. Maybe he's trying to justify why he's going to do what he's about to do. They've only sold $300-ish million of Bitcoin with a line of selling up to $5 billion. So maybe that is it. However, as a treasury company, it's smart. Their objective, what they want to do is okay. It's tolerable. As an individual who said never sell your Bitcoin, but then goes against it just all of a sudden, yeah, that I'm not so sure about. Coldcard hack has been confirmed by Galaxy Research to have at least 15 different attackers who are going for stealing funds and robbing funds of innocent people. The dollar figure attached to the hacks have climbed over $100 million. Unbelievable. And the hacks are still ongoing. Actually, $130 million, according to the latest post from Galaxy, who've been tracking this tragic event in the most informative way possible. There have been multiple waves of hacks. Wave 4 that took place yesterday was one of the largest waves of hacks. And you can see wallets all the way from 0.0001 Bitcoin towards 100 Bitcoin got hacked. And the average person, I saw a story which really it hurt me. There was a guy who saved up 2 Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin each for each of his 2 children to set them up for college and for beyond. And that was gone. And Coldcards were a wallet that when you went on AI, when you spoke to, not influencers, but when you spoke to specialists, that they recommended it. And it's not their fault either, because on paper, it seemed as the best way to keep your Bitcoin until we found out that in versions from 2021, the firmware was not generating the seed phrases completely randomly. It was linking the seed phrases to different identifiers, and with the development of AI, you can crack into those quite easily. It's not fully randomized, but if it were randomized, impossible for AI to get into them. And these innocent people are just getting robbed of their Bitcoin. And who is at fault? Look, I personally think it's Coldcards. It's just my personal opinion. At least when you go to exchanges, historically, exchanges have reimbursed people. Bybit, that suffered one of the biggest hacks in human history for dollar figure amounts, they processed every single withdrawal and built back their reserves 1-to-1. Like every known exchange in recent years, aside from FTX, who are actually reimbursing their creditors, over time, but yeah. Not an ideal example. At least there's an incentive from the exchange to reimburse customers to not lose customers, and there's a sense of accountability. But when it comes to Coldcards, who, one of their devices or many of their devices had a firmware issue because of their production fault, they're not going to reimburse anyone. And they're urging people to carefully move their funds still because the hacks are ongoing. And as a result, we're experiencing withdrawals of Bitcoin last seen at the levels last seen in FTX crash. It's ironic. During the FTX crash, people withdrew their funds from exchanges to self-custody. Now, from fear, they're withdrawing their Bitcoin to exchanges from fears of issues in self-custody. And imagine this is the bottom. It would be or close to the bottom, at least, pre-final capitulation. We got that FTX withdrawal pre-final capitulation. That would be a crazy, eerie correlation, ironic correlation. But it's madness. It's pure madness that we can't trust self-custody anymore like we did up until last week, Friday. And when you look at your solutions, okay, then you can do dice rolls for every seed phrase generation that you do. But the process of doing a fair dice roll to make sure you have max safety in your entropy, it's so difficult that no average Joe can cope with it. No average Joe can cope with this. And we don't know if Coinbase custody does this properly. We don't know if anybody does this properly. It's a whole big of a mess. And it shows how early we are and how we must create more commercially easy to use products that equally are safe so that we reduce resistance to enter into the Bitcoin markets. I forgot to show you this, but I found a tweet from 2021, 10th of October, where Coldcard posted the following, quote unquote, Coldcard makes retirement attacks impossible. Generate your own entropy and reproduce it provably. Then somebody asks, but I verified this, BLK014, what's a retirement attack? Coldcard replies, quote unquote, it's when the project makers could have a bug in the entropy generation for later retrieval. What? Keep in mind, the firmware issues for affected devices was an update in 2021. It was a version issue issued in 2021. Can it be an inside job? Could it be all planned? And I don't know. You must come to your own conclusions. But it's scary nonetheless. Very, very scary nonetheless. To wrap up, my heart goes out to everybody who's affected. I have friends who had money in Coldcards, and there's nothing wrong that any of these people did. And I pray that we can find the hackers and bring them to justice and try to refund as much as we can to all victims of the insane ongoing Coldcard hack. Clarity Act. We've got 3 days left until Senate enters a 5-week recess where they're gone on holiday for 5 weeks. No legislation. When they're back, full focus will be on midterm re-elections. I don't think they will spend time on the clarity. But Senate Majority Leader Thune says that he still expects to hold a vote for the Clarity Act this week before the recess. Now, technically, the Senate Majority Leader has the power of scheduling votes on legislation. So if you do have that, then like, why not just do it? I don't understand. What are you waiting for? But even if it does get voted on, maybe they're scared the Democrats will say no. So they maybe feel like it's better not to introduce it. Who knows? And can we blame the Democrats for not wanting to sign it or vote aye, or even Republicans when things like this were launched by the president and the price action is down like 95% since launch? No, you cannot blame them. As a conclusion, yesterday we got some bullish economic expansion reports. We went to 55.6. Anything above 50 means economic expansion, so we're getting it, but don't confuse it with altcoin season. I know we had altcoin season the last time the economy expanded, but the last time economy expanded from 0% or near 0% interest rates. When people borrow money for free, they go and invest, they hire, they create jobs, they want to buy more goods from manufacturers, so on and so forth. Hence, economy expands. Now the economy is expanding at restrictive monetary policy. Monetary policy is the predominant effector of what'd you call it? I forgot it now. Oh, guys, I think I do too much crypto. I think I do too much crypto, but altcoins go up when you have liquidity, and liquidity is more so determined by the interest rates as to the ISM if you deduce it in a logical manner, right? So because we have restrictive monetary policy, our current increase on the ISM is not credible enough to produce altcoin season. That's all that I'm trying to say. With that, today's video wraps up. Ladies and gents, please have a fantastic rest of your day. I know this was a longer video. I didn't expect it to be like that, but I hope it was informative. If you enjoyed it, destroy that like button and see you all very soon. Bye-bye.